I'm finally going to be able to get up out of the mud and start on the carpentry. That makes me happy.
Here we go.
Yeah, wow.
Hey everybody, this is Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, working on my addition here. And after several weeks of working down below grade and working in the mud and the masonry and all that, that's all finished. And so now today I'm going to be able to start on the carpentry, and that makes me happy. I like carpentry much better than I do wallowing around in the mud. But before I start that, I want to answer a few questions that you guys have been asking, a few concerns, and explain what's happening. And the first one concerns the venting of the foundation. A lot of people said, aren't you required to put venting in there? Aren't you going to put a vent in the wall? And yes, it needs to be vented, but it already is. That whole section right there underneath of the house is all completely open to the existing foundation, to the existing crawl space. And it is not a wet crawl space, it's dry. But I actually have a dehumidifier in there that runs 24/7, and it has a pipe that drains to the outside. So it's pretty dry under there, and all of this is vented through that underneath of the floor. So putting additional venting in the foundation is not really necessary. But when so many people asked me about that, I thought about it, and I thought, well, you know, an additional vent wouldn't hurt. So I went and bought one. This is what it looks like. You take out one of those cinder blocks. This is the same size as a cinder block, and then it opens, so you can have it open in the summer and close it in the winter. And so I was going to take out one of those blocks and put this vent in there. But then I decided against it. See, this is the vent right here. It's the same size as a cinder block. So I would take out this block and then I would put it in there, right there like that. Here's my concern. This dirt is still a little low, but this dirt is going to be up to this level to get the 2 feet of frost footer. And then I'll be putting flagstone, patio flagstone on top of that, which means it'll come up another inch or two above that. So the top of the flagstone would be up here. And I'm afraid that having a vent below the level of the patio, I'm going to get water running down in there when it rains. And that would not be a good situation. So I've decided to leave this out, even though I bought it, and just rely on the venting back into the main part of the foundation. Another question a lot of people had a concern about was whether I'm putting plastic in the bottom of the crawl space there. Some people said, are you going to do it? And a lot of people said, why didn't you do it? Well, yes, I'm going to do it, but now is way, way too early to do that. That won't be done until the very last thing. Because here's the thing. I just came through the remnants of Tropical Storm Fred. We had heavy rain for 2 days. So all of this is just real soaking mud. If I walked down there, I'd sink in a foot. And if I had had plastic here, this wouldn't look like this. It would look like a pool. The plastic would be held in. So I leave the plastic out. That way any water that gets in there can drain out. I will wait until I have the roof on and the shingles on so that water won't come down in there. And then I will crawl underneath and spread plastic underneath of there to help with the moisture barrier. Another thing that many people asked is whether I'm going to dig out the rest of this. Now that I've dug out that, am I going to dig out the rest of this? I can't, because I don't want to undermine the existing foundation. The foundation footer is required to be 2 feet deep, like I've mentioned many times. I was shocked when I dug down here and found that the corner of the foundation, that's the footer right there, and the bottom of the footer right there, that's only a foot below the ground. And you can see where I put my new foundation underneath of the old one. So if I would dig all of this out, that foundation right there would be completely undermined. So I have to leave it there to support the foundation. So it's going to be awkward to put the plastic up over top of that, but I really don't have any other option. And another thing that many people commented on is that as I do this patio, if I'm going to be putting flagstone on there, I really need to be compacting the dirt as I backfill it. And if I was going to complete the foundation or the patio right now, put the flagstone on there right now, that would be correct. But first of all, like I said, I've just had 2 days of heavy rain from Tropical Storm Fred. That is all mud, and I would sink into it if I walked across it. That's another reason I'm not finishing that now, and I'm going on the carpentry instead. When it's mud like that, you can't compact it. It just doesn't. You have to wait until it's fairly dry. The other thing is that I'm not going to be finishing this year. I'm going to spread out all the dirt, get it all level. I'm actually going to plant grass on there, and I'm not going to finish the patio until next summer. So it'll have an entire winter to settle, and then I can see if I need more dirt, I can bring in more dirt. Actually, you put down sand anyway to make it smooth to put the patio stones onto. So next summer when I finish the patio, I will be able to bring it up to the correct level at that time. So the first thing I need to do is take the sill plate and bolt it down to the top of the cinder block. And that's what these bolts are for that I put in here earlier. So I set this at the length that I want it. I'll measure this to the center of the bolt. Three and a quarter. So now I'll drill out a hole right there. I got another one down there to do. Now this sill plate that I have down here is required to be pressure treated lumber. But even though it's pressure treated, it's not allowed to make direct contact with any kind of masonry. So we have this. This is called Sil Seal. Comes in 6-inch width or 8-inch width. This is the 8-inch. It's I lay it down on top of here. It keeps it off of the cinder block. It also helps to seal up any little cracks that bugs might get in or anything like that. Just like that. Then I'll tighten it down with a wrench, and that locks this into the foundation. So now I've got all the sill plates in place and they're all bolted down all the way around. So the next thing for me to do is to start on putting in the joists, the floor joists, to build the box. Now, this is all open and you can see the joists there. They are 2 feet on center. I'm going to be putting my joists underneath of there on top of that sill plate and tying them in, sistering them into those existing joists. However, these are 2 feet on center and I want mine to be 16 inches on center. So that means that one will tie in to that, and that's 4 feet from there to here. So that one will tie in, and then I'll have one here and one here, and then that one will tie in. I'm using 3/4 inch tongue and groove for the decking, whereas they used tongue and groove 1x4 pine boards, which is probably stronger, so they were able to go to 2 feet. I could probably go 2 feet too, but I just much prefer 16 inches. I think it's stronger and the floor doesn't bounce as much when you walk across it and that sort of thing. Yes. Underneath of this vinyl siding is the old original wooden clapboard that was painted, and then somebody at some time in the past put the vinyl on top of it. Hi. Morning.
Hi. Well, I feel I haven't been out here in the garden in a while. I've got work to do.
So I'm using a chalk line to draw a straight line right down the center of this.
It's a wonderful way to make sure that they're all completely even. Chalk lines are used all the time. And it's a really neat thing. He rolls it back up in here and then it recovers the string with chalk.
So now I'm going to put the bridging in, and I drew this blue line to keep the bridging straight. Not that it really matters all that much, it's just more neat and tidy that way. The bridging is these boards that you put in between here, and I'll do that all the way down. And what that does, twofold. One is it keeps the joist from twisting, and the other is it helps to disperse the weight and make the floor less bouncy. Because that way, if there's a lot of weight on this one joist and it would bow down, these help distribute the weight to the joists on either side and make the floor much more rigid. So I got to do this all the way down, and I'll alternate them on the blue line so I can nail this way and that this way.
Look what we just got out of the garden. Aren't they beautiful? Tomatoes, more cucumbers. Bill's going to be putting these tomatoes on a hamburger here, cutting it fresh right out of the garden. And then these beautiful things, we use these all the time. These are sweet potato leaves. They are so tender and mild. I like them better than spinach, which amazes me. These are lovely to put with the hamburger. So it'll be like some tomato on there and the hamburger and some cheese. It's going to be nice. Okay.
Lunchtime.
You can use that blooper if you want. Scared the tar out of me. Okay, I'm sorry. Here we go.
Should we try that again?
Yes, try it again.
Lunchtime.
Don't make the camera shake.
Fresh tomatoes from our garden.
Oh, just picked.
I'm actually going to put some fresh cucumber from our garden
cool.
on my hamburger.
It's so wonderful when they're just picked fresh. Man. These are all grown on the cow.
And then some of our sweet potato leaves.
They're so good.
And there we go. And fresh French fries right from Walmart frozen section. Everything's better from the garden.
Oh, it's so good.
So now I have all the joists, what I call the box, finished. You can see this line of bridging down the center. And over here, this is the trap door where I'm going to have access down into the crawl space. And you can see over here, let me go over there a little bit closer. The original joists in the floor right there are 2-foot centers. I put mine on 16. So right there I tied it to the original one. And then I have these here screwed down and screwed up. And then there's another one tied to an original one once again. So I have mine on 16-inch centers instead of 24s. So now it's time to start putting down the flooring. I'm using 3/4 inch tongue and groove OSB. It's only a few sheets. This isn't a very big floor. And I always like it when I get into the carpentry because it always goes so much faster. Just a couple days you can get the structure up. And this is Monday. Actually, I hope if everything goes right, I can have it under roof by the weekend. And the main thing is it's just hot. I can't work in the middle of the day, so I work a couple hours in the morning. And then here it is, 6 o'clock in the evening, and as you can see, I'm now in the shade from the house. So I'm out here again in the evening getting some work done. So I made all these joists 16 inches on center, but then when I got over here to where the trap door is, I made this one 20 inches. Just give me a little bit more to get room to get in and out of there. I can get in and out of a 16-inch hole, but it's a little tight, so this gives me a little extra room. So I will be putting construction adhesive down. This is liquid nails subfloor, interior, exterior. I'll be putting it here on the top of the joist before I put the OSB flooring down. It does make it stronger, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is to stop squeaks. So when you walk across the floor, it won't squeak. Well, so I knocked the camera down. This is tongue and groove right here. So I have to use a sledgehammer and hit it over there this way to make sure that the tongue fits securely into the groove right there and makes a tight seal.
This is the moment that I have been looking forward to right here. I am standing in my new room. I'm here. This is so cool. I'll just walk right out here and I'll be in the new room. Wow. Thank you, sweetheart. This is so cool. Is it okay to step on this one?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Ah, scare me to death. Oh, this is so cool. I'm picturing where things are going to be.
Of course.
At least I'm not trying to put the Christmas tree out here. Every time we've ever had to move somewhere, as soon as I got to a place and he heard me go, I think that's where I'd put the Christmas tree, he knew that was probably going to be it. Wow. Very solid.
Yep. So I have nail guns. I have a framing gun, I have a roofing gun, I have a finishing gun, and an air compressor to drive them all. But I haven't used them since my business crashed in '08. And all of the rubber seals inside are dry rotted. So none of them work. So I would have to rebuild them all to get them to work. So I'm just using the trusty old-fashioned hammer.
Now, this is Bill hammering a nail in. Whap, whap. This is me hammering a nail in. Bing, 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 bing. I've done a lot of it, and I'm hilarious.
Tink, 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 tink.
I guess that's about right, yeah. Tink, 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 tink. Wow. Well, I'll try not to be in your way here.
So the flooring is now finished. You can see our little trap door right there to get down into the crawl space. Elizabeth now likes to come out the door and tap dance on this floor. She's so excited to see the progress moving along. So the next thing I need to do is the walls. But up here, the top of the wall, I have to match with the top of the existing wall from the house. And so it's up underneath of the eave. So what I'm going to have to do is take apart that eave there, take the gutter down, the soffit underneath, take all that apart, cut back on the roof a little bit so I can find the exact level of the top of the existing wall so that I can match that with the new walls that I'll be building. But that'll be in the next video. So if you want to see that, join me then. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe so you can find the next video easily. Thanks for watching. Live simple, live free. You be blessed.